Hi, this is me, I Get Real, and I have a I'm a pitiful, lonely single mom series going right now, and I laugh because what thought did I have? Okay, so it's 5:35. I just got home again. So I did go to the hospital this weekend, or this week, sorry, today. I didn't go last week, and before I missed last week, I scheduled to not go on next week because I'm like so overwhelmed that I got to the point, and I lost my water. I might have left it there, but I got to the point where I'm like not thinking clearly, and I'm like, oh my god, am I at a point where I just went my life, learned how to study, learned how to start the business, I didn't learn how to clean the house really. Actually, I did at one time, but then I lost everything. Everything seemed to fall apart when I was in the automobile accident in October 2014. So I don't want to be really like in the pitiful single mom. I'm lonely all the time mode, but I realize that when I'm doing my work and I'm doing volunteer and I'm doing too much work, it's like okay, I'm doing this too, by the way. I'm gonna make a little flower. When I do too much work, like when I was in school, there was tunnel vision. And that tunnel vision made me I kinda wanna you just know how you mark fabric, I kinda wanna do that, but you know what? Let's do it. I do it like this. Like usually the marker is white. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. I'm like, I don't think that's gonna work. I don't want to use it. Like like you get that little chalky thing. I don't want to um use a Sharpie or a pen. Oh shoot, yeah, because this is gonna be the outside. This is stupid. I just cut this random shape. I've been meaning to do this since last year. I have a hole in my coat, and I'm gonna draw. Yeah, I guess I am drawing in this, but I know how to embroider, but I don't have. I can find one if I get off my behind embroidery thingy me jigger bobber the circles, but I'm just gonna do it freehand without that. You hear my voice, so I'm like basically losing my voice, and I also have I had a cold and my daughter was sick and we were both sick and she had to miss one day of work. I missed last Wednesday. She was sick. I ignore my sicknesses. I'm trying to tie a knot here. And as a single mom, work, school, you get so many sick days. They don't like you working. It should be illegal, but they don't like. Some people don't like, especially single moms working. And if there's the school calls, then you're going home. And it's like, what the blankety blank do you want me to do? It's so hard because you're being judged. Because I went to for welfare. I voluntarily. I had been because of my past history being abused and my lifestyle. Because of what what I let that put me into. I was offered Social Security disability in 2004 or 2005. They said you qualify to be disabled because your life is basically crap and it's hard for you to focus. And I was homeless at the time. I could focus. I went through medical school. I don't have any diagnosis associated, but she says she would be willing to write paperwork so that I won't have to work. So I could stay home with my kids and get a check every month. And basically, I said, no, I'm going to medical school. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to help other people. And I knew somebody from the church. I was associated with a lot of churches that I wasn't a member of. So Salvation Army Church, there was this single mom. She had her husband, he was a military dude, dump her for another woman, and she was left with her daughter. And she got divorced. She's the one that told me you can get a scholarship for divorce if you're very, very low income, which we were, and we were homeless. It took me like 2 years. Like, I think after separation and custody, you had I think it was exactly 2 years, or like 1 year, 2 years minus a day, you could convert your divorce to, or your separation to divorce for $1. So at the time, and I wouldn't qualify now, so don't think that I can't do my job. But at the time when you're homeless and you're jobless and you have nothing and you're just like anxious, she was just trying to like make it easy on me. And I appreciate, like, if I had taken that disability, I would be making more now than I do as a doctor. I make a negative income as a doctor, and I work my weekend job for $13 an hour. If I want to pay my student loan back in 10 years, I need to send them $10,000 a month. 10,000. It might be 7,500, but if I don't do 7,500 in the next like 3 months, it's going to turn into, as the year turns over, $10,000 a month. I'm estimating, but it was several years ago 3,500, and the loan has doubled since then, and I haven't looked at it in a year, so it's going to exponentially go up. I know for a fact, I don't know for a fact because they calculate things differently, but I am pretty certain that I would have received more money on disability than I do as just a single mom working 4 jobs and not receiving child support. And then because you work the jobs, even with job loss or income loss, even job loss, they don't believe you if you have job loss. But if you have income loss, because you basically penalized for being laid off. You're not even, it doesn't matter if you're fired or not. The state just, I don't know where their rules came from, but they're very demeaning. They're not steering people towards self-sufficiency, and even if you have a lot of self-esteem and self-confidence, I think if you have too much cockiness, then they will treat you like a king and queen, and you'll stay on benefits indefinitely. So I always wanted to work, and I found out that even just being in my demographic and being alone all the time, without any support network is very, very hard. It's like a disability in itself, without any mental or physical or emotional problems. But yeah, because of being beaten and the circumstances around where I was in 2004 in the shelter, I could have gotten the paperwork signed that day, and I said, could you imagine choosing $500,000 a day? It was $250,000. But it turned into half. Could you imagine doing that and getting paid $0 your first year and $1,400 total your second year? There's a couple bucks, $1,411 for $1,411 the second year as a physician, primary care, running a full service clinic. Anything, prescription medication, blood lab draws, pregnancy tests. I don't do the tests in-house. I have to order those ones because I think it's like $100 for CLIA waived. I have to buy the CLIA waived. So I'd have to send you, but I could still order all that stuff so that your insurance pays for it. And I can draw it if it's a blood or urine or saliva or any stool or anything. And to be able to have the education to be granted a DEA number and then realize that your income is less than the price of the DEA certificate and your license for the whole year, not even counting insurance or the lease for the building or the phone or the fax, not even counting that stuff, not even counting paper cups and office supplies and all the other stuff, paper, ink for the printer, so you can receive faxes, because it's like, I couldn't receive a fax one day, and I went to receive it, and I preferred mail. I checked that, but they faxed it to provide a fax number. And I luckily, when I had October, right when I lost my job, I took like a couple $100 that I didn't have because I should have saved that for rent, and I took that money and I bought from Target the night before an inspection, like from the Medicaid, a bunch more stuff. Like, I think I'd already had the towels and stuff I got from Walmart, and I washed them, a lot of them fell apart. The towels and the washcloths. So I was going to do hydrotherapy. Someone said they started their business called hydrotherapy, and it grew from there because no one else was doing it. I actually do hydrotherapy, but I have not been able to explain that to my patients very well. And I've done physical medicine, actually billed for it, and I didn't get paid. And I trained over a year. I trained like 5 years. You do physical medicine in class, but I trained a year in clinic. So it's very interesting that you need a prior authorization or referral for that in your own clinic. So I was like, do I write myself a referral? So I'm going to do it. Just because it's like, my license says I can do that. But I also read somewhere that, I think it was dual degree acupuncturists, naturopaths. I think there was certain codes that they had to use, like 3 codes that they could use, or massage therapists. I don't know. It was like really weird because it's like, or it was the diagnosis. It's like, I hate how it's like you do what needs to be done for your patient. You're not going to adjust their neck because their knee hurts. Like, you could actually, especially think of Chinese medicine, they're doing opposites. They're doing something on my ankle that's affecting my liver, that's affecting my right ear or my left ear. So like there are things, but it's like, because insurance is dictating some of this stuff, you're like being forced to do a weird diagnosis and a weird treatment based on the fact that you're not going to get paid if you do what you're trained to do. But then for me, I just do what I'm trained to do and take a financial loss. And that means you're not going to pay your electric bill that month. Or like me, you're just going to keep racking up credit card debt, trying to keep the lights on everywhere. So this whole pitiful mom thing, I was like, well, I'm just telling you the truth. And I realized that because my body is completely shot from this wreck and the injuries, and it was maintainable, it was manageable when I had the, shoot, I meant to make this bigger, or did I? No, I didn't. It was like manageable when I had chiropractic, acupuncture, hydrotherapy, naturopath, and another naturopath who had different degrees, including doing homeopathy. When all those people worked together, I was like, alright, I can get through the week. And I still couldn't sleep, I still had the symptoms, they didn't go away, but I could get through the week without cringing and having my jaw like that. And now I'm struggling to get through the week. That as more time goes by without health care, I'm struggling to get through the week. I have showed you guys the all that noise. Like, I make noises. Someone else is making really weird noises. I had showed you, and I talked about used underwear and somebody online from someone who sells a guy who sells a lot of bras and like lingerie, women's lingerie tops. How his wife thought it was so disgusting, how she would never wear a used bra, and how I had posted, I don't know if they actually posted that I had to wear used underwear. Actually, when I moved to Portland, I don't think I owned any underwear for at least 2 years. No, at least, I don't know, like a while. I didn't have underwear. I didn't have any bras. No underpants. And that's hard when you're a menstruating female, but I was homeless before that, and I was malnourished. So my period when you're underweight, for me, I'm usually never underweight, but this is the one time in my life I didn't lose my period, but it was so light that when I had cramping, I ran to the bathroom, and that was the only bleeding. So I'd sit there for like several minutes. When the cramp stopped, I got up. And this is when I bought the house. This wasn't when I was living outside. I don't even know. When you're living outside and you're kind of like an animal because you're so broke, you have nothing, you're starving to death. I don't even remember. I can't tell you. Like, I could have just been like, I probably wasn't menstruating, but when you're that broken, I drive home sometimes and God, I was broken. My life was broken. And I make these videos because it's like, I don't know anybody else like this. I feel like when you feel like a freak and you don't have somebody to say, oh, good job, you know, keep on going to work, keep your kids in school, you went through school, set a good example. Like, you have to tell yourself that. But if you feel like you're following God, that you can help dig yourself out of the hole by being obedient. But it's like, I don't know. I'm not changing the subject, I'm going back to underwear. I saw people talk about wearing, because I'm old, I'm gray haired, I don't dye my hair. Some of my hair, you could see it, it's a lot of gray. When I look in the mirror with the light on, it's a lot more gray than you see. I don't know what it looks like in the back, because I don't look at my hair in the back. Like, a lot of my hair, not all of it, is turning back. So this part will be gray from here to the ends, but this part is starting to turn black again. And I have some medicines, like Chinese herbs I used to take when I could take herbs. I still have I have a lifetime supply of this. I thought I was going to continue for vitality, but I'm not really tolerating stuff, and some of it is cured in rice. Yeah, cured, like fermented. I don't know if it's fermented, but cured, not just taken from the plant. And it might actually be cooked, but I literally, so that time I lost a job, I bought stuff for my clinic so that it would look more professional, and my friends, they have their husbands and their parents and their own loan money they have left over, the things you put cotton balls in, the little glass things, and little signs for your door, and little bulletin, but they bought stuff, professional stuff, stainless steel little tables and trays, autoclaves, they actually got, professional grade waiting room chairs, and, I have, a ton on my list of minimal things that I need in a clinic, but it became that I was so broke that every penny, if I were to, reach over, say this was a drawer and I found a bunch of pennies, those are going, and they're going in a jar, and I'm going to have to cash them in, because it's going to be, you get your license, you use your brain, in this bag, I've showed you, oh my god, I'm teeth grinding, you have this medical bag that has everything I bought with my loan money during first year of medical school. I added stuff to it afterwards, just either the teacher said we needed it, I never needed it, or there's also some stuff that attaches to some of my equipment that I wanted to buy, to test the sinuses. You can't use, you're not supposed to use, a really hot light, but I just had to say, it's the Transilluminator. I found a quote. I find quotes from the bookstore when they get a big order, how they get sales, and when's the best time of the year when they're ordering the other equipment for the first year students and all this stuff. But I basically threw that away because I don't have $100, $70, $60. What I need to buy is the paper for the printer, the ink. I checked the ink. I was at the office today. I checked the ink. It's half used already. I didn't even print anything. And well, I had stuff faxed, and then I had, if you get, you ask for, a year worth of someone's chart notes, there you go. I was like, I really need more than a year, because these people have stuff. I need to order more of this person's chart, that I'm thinking of, because I gotta get some imaging results. I'm just gonna send this person to imaging. I don't care. I do care, but I'm gonna send this person to imaging. No, I'm just gonna get new results, and I'll work on the mystery of what the old ones are. But the ultimate thing is, has it gotten better or worse? And I won't know that until I do new ones. I need to know if it's an urgent situation. So I'll just go ahead and do that. I'm just thinking, oh God, if you're ever in medical school and you want to go into private practice, I don't know anybody who wants to go to private practice, but I read about allopathic MDs and osteopaths, and a lot of them, if they formed a group with colleagues, a lot of them are bought up by hospitals. So you still have that small town feel, but your management is the hospital, or your ownership and your rules. Like, it's not like the hospital and me, you as a naturopath, you still have to follow like CDC guidelines. You still have to follow the rules of medicine. Um, in my state, as a naturopath, there's rules I can follow. I have to follow. If I was in Arizona, I would need to be able to do acupuncture. If I was in Washington, it's very similar. Minor surgery needs to be a separate certificate. I saw a job posted somewhere. It wasn't BC. I think it was. I don't know where in Canada. I'm sorry. And they had said you need the pharmacology exam, and I was like, is that a freaking separate exam? So I might actually look into that. I consider moving out of the country, but my kids like it here. I consider moving out of the city, out of the state, out of the county, everything my kids like here, and I value their opinion. I realized today, I didn't realize this, but I realized I really devote a lot of time and energy to make, like, I devote a lot of time and energy just sitting on my butt. I've been watching Disney movies right now, so I spend a lot of energy sitting on my butt. But yeah, I want to show you this. It's really embarrassing. I don't think anybody watches my videos, really. Like, I think people would watch, like, 3 minutes of video, like, 30 seconds. Alright, so I bought this. I'm not a reseller, so I got this at the Goodwill. And I have another one I showed you underneath that I got at the Goodwill. I've worn this. I need to wash it. I was so itchy. I washed it. It smells like someone else's perfume or detergent. I washed it. I had to wear it to work. I couldn't find a bra, not even a strapless one. My strapless ones, I lost weight, even though I feel really chunky now. My strapless ones are like under here is starting to be too big. So this is actually only a 34. I don't know. But it's small, and my boobs don't fit. They like wrap around the back. And my boobs are saggy because I nursed for 3 years, so I'm not like bragging about anything. But it's so I'm like, how do you? I did another video. How do you fit a bra when you're broke and you're on like $30 a year? So I wish I was a reseller. Because of like my housing and my all of the stuff that I need help with, I really can't be a reseller. I guess I could be, and I just report all my income, but it's basically a loss at this point because I'm selling my personal items. So the money for postage is basically eating up all of the I forgot about the fees. So this is like really embarrassing. When I was married, the one outfit. So my ex-husband would work at a thrift store, and he got all kinds of used underwear, under pants, under bras, a little bit of lingerie that he brought home. I don't know. I think he kept that stuff in hiding. It was mainly the underpants, and it wasn't even bras. It was mostly that. But I had gone to some of the stores or ordered something mail order. I don't know if I ordered Fredericks of Hollywood. And I was like, always wanted kind of like a French maid outfit. And this isn't really like a French maid, but this is like so cute. I wonder what I should wear at the bottom. And it's just that. Which is, I think I tried it on. I'm not going to show my daughter. It was like, the kids are going to be like, nightmare. I don't want nightmares forever, Mom. Thanks. But when you're like me, and you're kind of spunky, and you like to dress up and have fun, and you like to dance, like I was like a raver, and I liked to glitter, and I liked to dance, and I liked, like, I was hanging out in gay bars, and I was going to, like, drag night with my best friends that were dudes, and one dressed in the long wig and the makeup, and he was tall and skinny, wearing a dress, and boobs, and it was just like, I just liked that 90s, like, I watched a Club Kid movie recently, and I'm really scared of how kind of gory the makeup and stuff got. But when this was looking at kind of the New York club scene, which was a few years before my club scene raving stuff, but I just, like, my real person if you saw me the way I want to dress in public, like at home, you hear all the noise outside, and the windows are close to their porch and to the playground. So it's like, I would love to put something like that on. Tell my kids knock before entering and clean my whole room with music on and just like throw glitter around. And I have like a little, I made myself, I think I used a coupon at Kohl's. They had a double disco ball. So I never got my real, we had a real disco ball, I think, right before I left my ex-husband. But I think we actually got it working with the hanging it from the ceiling. We didn't have like a motor, I don't think. We might have, and then the light, I don't know. Everything got left behind. But that, like, that outfit is like, you feel like, what's the point of doing something? But it's like, if you're single all your life and you like to have fun and dress up and like get the music and like kind of do make believe, like, you know, girls at Disney princess dresses. You know, I was like, I didn't have princess dresses when I was a kid. I had like my brother's little cap guns, kapow, kapow, and I'd find ropes, and like I'd be last one. Like I was like the cowboy. Like that was one of my main. I was playing with Tonka trucks. Yeah, I got Barbies and dolls. I did both. I was changing diapers. I had the Barbie with my brother's G.I. Joe. Barbie had ponies, like My Little Pony, like Barbie had a Corvette with the My Little Ponies, and G.I. Joe was on the other side, and I had the Tonka trucks, those big old metal ones, and I was like building and tearing stuff apart in my mind, and using erector sets, and using chemistry sets. So it was like the girly stuff, the boy stuff, the cap guns. They never let me use the cap. I got my kids some. Pretty sure they were shooting them off in the house. I don't know. I got them like last. I didn't have money. I think I got them at Christmas before last. I didn't have money. I got them at Winco. I was like, this is freaking cool. And I was gone a lot, so I was like, I kind of wanted them to get out in the backyard. And so 3 years ago, I got them wooden swords they could spar. I do a lot of martial arts, so I hate fighting. I cry during martial arts, but I was really into like weapons training. I was really into gun training. So my education, that's just the fun stuff. That's not even like sitting in class. Someone was asking me today, and I was like, oh my God, did you hear that in the watershed? And they had to turn this off because the highway was shut down. They couldn't take the ammonia, and then they had cryptosporidium. And I talked to my son. He's like, I know about this. Cinnamon, this is how you. They're just like, it's like, I have a friend that studied environmental science. I didn't want to bother this lady. And I was like, yeah, I studied general science, environmental science, or environmental studies. I was in special science, other science programs. I was doing pre-med. I've trained as a doula. I've trained as a midwife. I've trained as a full-service naturopathic physician, primary care of all ages. I've trained in agriculture, natural resource communication. That right there is a freaking huge. That's a huge. I trained in that actually kind of blended. I trained in fisheries and wildlife. That was my major for a while. I kind of wish I did the fisheries in wildlife. My number one was doctor and astronaut. I was in ROTC, so I did military training, but I dropped it because I didn't want to kill anybody. I like to shoot skeet targets. I don't hunt, and I don't shoot people. Weaponries, when you're sparring and you're shaking and you're nodding in agreement that you're going to try to whack each other across the face with a freaking bow, a wooden Japanese stick. Or sword fighting like I had my kids. I didn't have enough money for 3. I figured we'll just do 2 at a time. I don't want both of it. I've done that. I've been there, done that when I was the kid, the big kid, and the little kids would come after. They would spar and have as many little kids as they could come after those big kids. And what sucks when you spar with a bunch of little kids, they come after you with all their might. Like, they're trying to kill you because you're big. And you can't really, like, just, like, you could literally, like, probably throw them across the room. You can't. You pretty much have to just use restraint and, like, so one of the smaller kids was my first Taekwondo teacher's son was, he was black belt, or was he a brown belt? He was high up. He might have been a black belt. I think he was a brown belt. Anyways, whatever. He wasn't. He was chubby. He wasn't that old. He kicked me right in the gut, and I fell down. And I like in the movies where they're like puking up blood. I wasn't like puking up blood. I don't know. I could have been. I was like, I was done. The wind was not. That was one of the biggest blows. And I have a loose rib. I'm like, oh, like I have a consistently loose rib on the right side. I was like, wow, he got in trouble, but like, what's he gonna get in trouble? But I hated when they had. I had a water bottle. No, I think I left it in the car. I brought another one up. So I'm really like happy. Like you see, like my demeanor. So the reason I was talking about my voice disappearing and being not having underwear right now, I can't find any. I did laundry. I don't know. I threw away a bunch of bras, which is I just basically bought anything I thought would fit. So I ended up with that. I ended up with this. Another one I gave to my kid. And then I bought a bra I thought was brand new, which was like $7. And it was unpadded. I should have just gone to the store and gotten one. But I think was it the Jillian O'Malley? That's my favorite brand. They fall apart. I get the cotton ones. Cotton is not hold up. And I can't hand wash, and I could hand wash and hang dry, but I get mold problems. We live in a low-lying area with a really wet backyard, and the house and the kitchen and all that area already had mold. When we moved in, they basically just covered it with caulking and spot paint and stuff, so it's kind of scary. I don't think it's black mold. I think it's just a kitchen mold, but I noticed, like, you get mold spores. It's Portland. Some people lived in basement apartments. Someone's like, oh, it was really depressing. Someone else is like, it was really moldy. So I don't want to have to do that, but it would be it would be better, I guess, than living outside. Although that darkness thing gets me because when I live in the low income housing, the light is not the best. So I read articles here and there about people saying, I want to go out and have some decent underwear and go pay all that money at Victoria's Secret and wear this lace and wear fitted bras and have some professional fit them for you and then go and with like imagine a businesswoman going to work or any job you have and you feel good having something that nobody can see. And then in the doula training, I went to a few classes. I wish I would pay this lady to take her seminars and webinars to help another person out. I just don't have the money. That's one of the issues. When I had money, I offered people I know. I said, I got to spend money. Say you have to spend money on food. They own a store, and you say, oh, I really want to go to your store. I like you. I know you. I want to give you my money compared to a stranger. People would be like, you think you're going to get a discount or something from me? Or this? I was just like, I never even thought that. I was just thinking, why should I give it to a stranger when I know you? And I thought they were honest. Some of the people I didn't ever think were honest, but I was like, they're only human, so I didn't want to boycott them. What ended up happening is those red flags were just the tip of the iceberg. Those red flags that I saw were just the tip of the iceberg. And it's not becoming a judgment thing, it's becoming I'm trying to do this. No, I kind of did it a little bit too short, somehow a little bit of time. I was like, oh, please don't break the needle. And I was also saying in my mind, please don't, let me get the thread. Speaking of windows, I've taken down the window, I've taken down the blinds. I had tons of more curtains up and lace curtains, and I took some down to wash, and I probably just misplaced it. But these kids are so loud. It's unreal. But I keep saying if I had 10 kids, 6 kids, 7 kids, I would probably be like, go outside. But the problem is then the parents' house is quiet and they take naps. And then because I live near the playground, it's like then my house is super loud. I have to just turn it off because people live outside here. People were laying on the street out here with backpacks and knapsacks and camel bags. Well, I think it was at least one woman and 2 men, and there was another guy across the street panhandling. And right here at the corner of our house, like a block away, my daughter had a sandwich and some bread I gave her, and she ate it. She goes, shoot, I should have given it to that guy. And I was like, dude, that bread, I didn't say it right then. And I don't want to be rude because I don't know if this guy has transportation, but I was like, we're really poor. People in my neighborhood saw me lose weight, and they gave me that bread from the food bank that they went and got yesterday from the food pantry. And they said there was old bread sitting outside. They literally put it outside on the table. So it's like anything, bugs, anything that sits out unattended. And because it's going to be rotten, by the next day, if you wait till you open and it's some of that, there's a lot of fresh bread places. So I got some in the freezer. The kids each got a little bit yesterday, and they don't do well really with bread. I'm gluten free. I have intolerances, and it's like you want to send your kid to bed not hungry, so you get a lot of the food we get is somebody else's discard from the food pantry after it's already been discarded, and a lot of it people try to give us is expired. It is expired, but it's just survival. It's become a survival mode, and now the reason I say this is because I was trying to eat a lot of expired foods a few years ago. Everyone was getting sick. Some people are more sensitive to others. What's the point of eating stuff you're going to be up with diarrhea and puking all night? I mean, you're losing more nutrients. I know some people, this white lady, she ate a lot of rotten meat. She said to ignore the smell of the rotten meat from the food pantry because when you gotta live, you gotta live. But her and her kids didn't have food poisoning and puking. And I know it could be genetic because passed on because of the enzymes. If you have certain enzymes and microbial action in your gut, because it's like one chew from here to your butt. My mom was like, I'm like, okay, I'm eating my chicken leg, I'm drinking some of my milk, the food's already wrapped up in containers and put in the fridge. I'm like, I wanted seconds. It's like now the food is cold. Like, she's not going to be like, oh, let me put it out for you. She's like, no, you're done. So you just eat everything, you eat your salad. I wish I could eat one of my mom's meals right now. I think it would be really good. Let me make a part 2.